Picture this. You're an engineer for Lockheed Martin and you've been working on a project for the past 3 months with your team. Tomorrow, your project manager is going to present to your bosses and the executive board. However, to your horror, you receive an email the day before the presentation that your project manager called in sick and can't make it to the presentation. He's requested that you give the talk instead of him. Now you're freaking out because you have no confidence speaking to a large audience and you have no idea what to do in this situation. Well, I'm here today to tell you that it doesn't have to be that bad, and there are things you can do to make the situation easier and get out of situations like this anytime they come across you. The answer lies in the art of the informative talk. I'm going to talk about how you need to give a 3-point structure. You're going to want to know your audience, and you're going to want to rehearse strategically to give an informative talk most effectively. So let's talk about a 3-point structure. If you pay close attention, you'll observe that I'm actually using a 3-point structure in this video. So what is a 3-point structure? A 3-point structure is essentially when you choose 3 main ideas to base your talk on. How you're going to structure your talk is you're going to start with an introduction where you hook your audience and get them interested in what you're going to talk about. Then you're going to highlight what you're going to talk about in a thesis statement and list out the 3 things briefly to give your audience a preview of what you're going to talk about. Then you're going to go through the body of your talk and go sequentially through each main idea and the details of them more specifically. Then once you've gone through all 3 main ideas, you're going to recap what you went through in that day, similar to your thesis. And then finally, you're going to conclude and make references back to your introduction to create that full circle effect and leave your audience feeling satisfied. So why would you want to use a 3-point structure? A 3-point structure gives you something you can always rely on as you're going through the talk because it gives you a skeleton and you can use your natural language to navigate through that skeleton as you speak. Additionally, it's going to make you seem more organized and prepared because it makes you look like you have way more of a purpose as you speak. The next thing I want to talk about is knowing your audience. You're giving an informative talk, and that has to be done in a specific way. You're going to want to gather statistics and facts regarding your subject to be as informative as possible. Remember, an informative talk is about being objective. You have to filter out any subjectivity in your speech and anything that can come off as persuasive. By being persuasive and being subjective, you can come off as less credible and less informed about the subject, and people will think of you as less intelligent in this speech. Stay on topic and stay objective, and you'll be taken way more seriously in your informative talks. Moving forward, I want to talk about rehearsing strategically. Now, there is a better way to rehearse through my experience, and I've learned that the hard way. So, through my experience as a communications student at University of Maryland, I've learned that the optimal number of times to rehearse a speech is 3. Anything less, 1 or 2 times, and you'll feel a little bit unprepared about giving that speech when you have to present it. Anything more, and you'll feel worked up and anxious, and you'll probably fumble over your words during your speech due to your over preparation. Stick to 3 and you'll be good. Additionally, I recommend sticking to minimalist flashcards. What I mean by that is don't write out an entire speech on your flashcards. Just use a couple words to jog your memory and make it look like you're just trying to remind yourself. Don't make it look like you're reading off a script. I'm going to give you 3 things also you can do while you're practicing to make your practicing way more efficient. You're going to want to practice while you're standing. Many times people will practice while they're sitting simply out of comfort. However, you're missing out on a big opportunity here to practice the way you're going to present. You want to put your body in the position that it will be presenting to be most prepared and ready for that big day. Additionally, you're going to want to practice in a loud voice. When you're presenting, you're going to be speaking to a large audience, and people tend to whisper when they're practicing on their own. That's another opportunity that you're missing out on to be more prepared for your real speech. Lastly, you're going to want to practice with your eyes up and looking forward at a wall. When you're giving a speech to an audience, you're not going to be looking down, you're going to be looking forward. So practice the way you give your speech and you'll be way more prepared. So today, I talked about how you need to use a 3-point structure, you need to know your audience, and you need to rehearse strategically to be most effective at giving informative talks. In the future, even if your job doesn't demand you to speak often, you don't know when you'll be called upon and you need to be ready. If you're not ready to give an informative talk, you could be missing out on a crucial opportunity to impress your bosses, an executive board, and your coworkers. Thank you.